The following, finally, is a live presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. Well, after, a couple days of running off like a herd of thunder and turtles, it's time to play some baseball on the channel. And so, first of all, many thanks to Dave Cook, who quickly figured out what was going on. We went to stream yesterday. I went to open up the baseball game. Said path not found. That is not. Oh, by the way, my name is Ron Juckett. Welcome to the program for this 21st day of April, the 22nd. So we went to open the game yesterday. And I set up for the Dodgers and the Cardinals, which you're about to see. And it said path not found. The game wouldn't open. We tried over and over and over again, reinstalled it several times, different folders, yada, yada, yada. Some great suggestions, by the way, in the Action PC Facebook group. And we realized the problem was with the data folder, and Dave sent something that said delete X. And so I deleted X, and Y came back to life. So we got ourselves everything there. Nothing was lost in the replay. You'll notice that the picture of St. Louis's Busch Stadium is the current one and not the older one, and we'll just get that fixed. So no AstroTurf today. It's ahead to the future today at St. Louis for this one between the Dodgers and the Cardinals. And actually, Busch Stadium looks really, really nice. So no automatic tarp machines. So what you get today is a split doubleheader. You get the game now, which should have been yesterday's game, and today's game will be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Twitch.tv, Retro Sports Network, between, I believe it's Kansas City and New York. So the Yankees and the Royals, I think. And then tomorrow's game at noon Eastern is Toronto and California. And that will get us caught up on the week. And then next week we're going to do, I think we have one baseball game. And then we're going to do some golf for you before we get to the All-Star game. So that's what we got going on for you, and so that's why we weren't with you yesterday. And Tuesday we got 4 inches of snow, wet, heavy snow. Let's play some baseball, shall we? As Retro Sports Network presents Major League Replay 85. Today from Busch Memorial Stadium, it is the Los Angeles Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals, and I forgot to open up the standings. Oh well. Today's game is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. Actually, let me see if I can do the standing thing without the game freezing while you're on the watch screen. Let's blame it on Bob Stanley and leave it at that. Okay, Todd, I'm with that. How you doing, Midlife Crisis, Sean? Having a good day? Hi, Big Dave. Yeah, I'm ready for spring. So I forgot that because I did not install the new game into the traditional folder, that the streaming software has moved things around, so you get the whole Monty for this one. Oh, wells, we'll get it figured out for later. It'll be Kirk Kepshire on the mound for the Cardinals. He is 6-5 on the replay with a 4.35 ERA, making his 15th start of the year. Zalapsky Smurf, how are you? Kurt is 26 years old, ground ball pitcher and a fastball pitcher at 87. His last time out, he did face the Dodgers and beat them on May 9th, by the way. His last time out was on July 1st, so 5 days ago, in a 5-3 win over Le Expo. He went 6 innings, 92 pitches, 6 shutout innings, and struck out a batter. So 70 1/3 for Kurt, 69 hits, 39 runs, 34 earned. 2 homers allowed. He's walked 37 and struck out 26. So 1949 says, we like you. 6-5 with a 4.35 ERA. The Dodgers line up like this. Dave Anderson at third will lead off. Mariano Duncan at short will bat second. Kenny Landreau in center will go third. Pedro Guerrero and left cleans up. Brock at first will bat fifth. R.J. Reynolds in right will bat sixth. Mike Scioscia behind the plate goes seventh. Steve, I promise not to hit your mom in the first base stand sacks at second, bats eighth. And Bob Welch, that sentimental lady, is on the mound and should throw 130 or so pitches. No Vince Coleman for the Cardinals today. Steve Braun is a 5 and an 8 in left. Willie McGee an 8 and a 7 in center. Andy Van Slyke is a 4 and a 9 in right. Terry Pendleton plays third. Ozzy Smith a 9 at short. Tommy Hura 5 at second. Jack Clark a 6 at first. Tom Nieto, remember Darryl Porter's hurt, is a 5 and a 7 behind the plate. And Kepshire is a 7 on the mound with a 960 fielding percentage. So I think we've gone long enough without doing some baseball. How you doing, Steeler fan? And the next time we have the Cardinals, we'll have... My speaker lit up. The next time we have the Cardinals, we'll have them in their correct 1985 AstroTurf variation. Anderson at 182, a homer and 12 RBI. Game 77 for the Dodgers and 77 for the Cardinals. And this one starts with a ground ball base hit left side. It's a rainy day here in St. Louis. 83 degrees. Wind's blowing out to right at 4. And just a light rain. So we'll see how long Kepshire and Welch can do their own bidding here. Here's Duncan Mariano at 253. 3 homers and 21 RBI. Well, Steeler fan, between the game crashing yesterday and the snowstorm that we had Tuesday, it's finally nice to be with you. I've been doing better, thanks. Kepshire winds and deals. There's a bunt. Nieto picks it up, throws to her covering, and Duncan is retired. So 1 out for Landreau. So although this is Action PC Baseball 22, had to install it in a new folder, which is why we're using the newer ballpark. Traditionalists, don't hurt me. Oh, did you watch the hot tub girl at lunch yesterday? Did you give her $5 to sign her pickle Rick for you? Here's Landreau, Kenny at 326, 9 homers and 43 RBI. We're with you tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern for the regularly scheduled game. Just like real Major League Baseball, it's split admission doubleheaders. I believe it's Kansas City and the Yankees for that. Landreau slashes that one into left. Braun will pick it up. Anderson rounds third. Steve can't really get it. Landreau's got himself a double, and the Dodgers break out first with a 1-0 lead. And why didn't it tell me what number double that was? It didn't pop up. Did I do something wrong? Oh, wells. So here's Pedro Guerrero. Pedro at 312. The outcome box is there. 312, 16 homers, and 45 RBI. Kepshire from the stretch. There's a ground ball to third. Pendleton has it, play him. And the Dodgers are off to a great start. Pendleton couldn't get it. Bounced off his glove. Guerrero on first. 1 out for Greg Brock. Greg at 260, 10 homers, and 31 RBI. So 1 out, 1-0 Dodgers. And the Cardinals getting behind the 8 ball. Remember, we had them on last week. Who am I managing? I'm managing the Cardinals. So always, unless it's the Red Sox or late season and we're playing a scrub, I always manage the home team. Pitch to Brock. Fly ball to right. Van Slyke going back, and I don't think he's going to get that one. It's gone. Well into the bleachers. And so the Dodgers have a 4 spot on the board as D. Scott Howard and the Goats get settled in. So that's his 11th of the year.
And before you can say Ambusall, it's 4-0 Dodgers, as Brock just smashed the daylights out of that one into right field. Are we trying to extend the scoreless inning streak today? No, I would like to get a run in the first inning for the Cardinals and be done with it. We did figure that the last run that I scored was with the Blue Jays in the 7th inning of the last time I had them on. So, thanks for that, Steeler fan. Thanks for the reminder. So, we're at 29 innings with me not scoring. Here's Reynolds, 244, no homers, 4 triples, and 12 RBI. Kepshire wishes that I was managing the Dodgers because they wouldn't score. Reynolds lines that one to right. Van Slyke will get that one off the wall. And Reynolds is in with a double. He's going for 3. Herr will not cut it off. The throw to Pendleton is late. And Kepshire is kind of pitching like he's in the old ballpark. My goodness, what a start for the Dodgers. 4 runs on 4 hits. So here's Scioscia, 275, no homers, and 22 RBI. And you look at the outcome box, Mr. Kepshire is kind of won't be kept in here very long. Pitch to Scioscia. Base hit left field. 5-0. You want the Cardinals to win, Steeler fan, remember? Your Astros are chasing the Dodgers, who now have a 5-0 lead. And so here's a situation. We could go with Ricky Horton. We could go with Neil Allen. We could theoretically go with Bob Forsch. And so Bob Forsch starts to loosen in the Cardinal pen. Here's Sachs, 259, a homer and 12 RBI. There's still 1 out in a 5-0 game. Hershiser's streak was 59. I think he extended it a few innings in his opening start in 89. Mr. Howell would know. And that's a base hit in the right field. So Van Slyke will pick it up. And Mr. Herzog is quite flummoxed at the moment. Here's Bob Welch. Bob, there's still only 1 out. It was Duncan is the one I couldn't reach because he sacrificed. So Kepshire hasn't really retired anybody. Welch, 2 for 14 with a 143 batting average. Pendleton and Clark play for the bunt. Welch squares. Nieto over to her. And there's 2 out. So Dave Anderson singled and scored. The Dodgers have 6 hits and 5 runs. So Kepshire, this is the very definition of not efficient at all. 2/3 of an inning, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, and the home run to Landreau. Anderson singled and scored. By the way, even with the wrong ballpark picture, the ballpark dimensions are the same as if we were playing in the AstroTurf Busch Stadium from '85. So Scioscia on third, Sachs on second. Kepshire's nightmare will continue as a ball gets past Ozzy Smith. So Scioscia scores. Sachs will round third. McGee throws home. And Sachs is safe. It's 7-0 LA. And aren't you glad we waited 2 days to get this one in? They take the ball out of Kepshire's hands. And Bob Forsch comes in to pitch. So how many times do you think a year back when the National League didn't have the DH that the starting pitcher doesn't even get even close to an at-bat? The Cardinals haven't even taken a swing. They might after Kepshire at this point. Yet, Mr. Howard's been playing strap baseball 57 years. Where'd you learn that? And the hot tub girl is warming up. 83 degrees and it's raining, so she won't get all hot and sweaty. Bob Forsch is 35 years old. He's a standard pitcher and a fastball pitcher at 82. He last went on the 22nd of June, so I'm assuming he might have gotten hurt. He got a no decision in a 5-4 win over the Cubs. 104 pitches over 7. 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, a homer. He walked 1 and struck out 5. So 59 in the third innings. 67 hits, 39 runs, 32 earned, 7 homers. He's walked 23 and struck out 22. Oh, last night with RJL. Awesome. 2-5 with a 4.85 ERA. Garrett Cole's watching this. He'll be disturbed because, his practice has now been screwed up. Did you see where Cole gave the Yankees a bunch of grief? Oh, the poor thing dropped her soap. Oh, it was terrible, Todd. It was just terrible. Remember, just as Nancy used to say, just say no to crack. Duncan sacrificed bunt his first time up. Anderson on first. So 2 out and Forsch in to save the day. Pitch to Mariano. Here's a fly ball to left. And finally, Braun will end the inning. But the Dodgers make up for the 2 rainouts in a row. 7 innings, 7 runs, 7 hits, and an error for St. Louis. They leave on a runner. The Rams have a touchdown over the Cardinals, 7-0. So here's Bob Welch, making his 6th start of the year. 2-1 with an ERA of 1.11. That's not bad, eh? 29 years old, fastball pitcher at 86, and a ground ball pitcher. His last time out against Atlanta, he threw a 3-hit shutout on June 30th. Threw 139 pitches. 3 hits, he walked 4 and struck out 6. So overall for Welch, 40 innings, 25 hits, 7 runs, 5 earned. He's given up 3 homers. He's walked 8 and struck out 19. And to finish the GOAT story, he answered that ad in Street and Smith in the spring of 65 at the age of 13 and never looked back. Willie McGee will lead off for St. Louis. Terry Pendleton will bat second and play third. Tommy Herr at second bats third. Jack Clark at first cleans up. Andy Van Slyke in right will bat fifth. Steve Braun in left will go sixth. Ozzy Smith at short bats seventh. Tom Nieto behind the plate goes eighth. And Bob Forsch, remember, coming in as a reliever, will bat ninth. Defensively for the Dodgers, Pedro Guerrero a 4 and a 5 in left. Landreau is a 4 and a 2 in center. R.J. Reynolds a 4 and a 3 in right. Mr. Dave Anderson is a 7 at third. Mariano Duncan a 5 at short. Sachs a 5 at second. Greg Brock a 6 at first. Mike Scioscia a 7 and a 6 behind the plate. And Welch is a 7 on the mound. I played Strat for the first time at 18 years old. Can you roll the dice on a Strat basketball PC game? I don't believe so. It is on sale right now. The new version through May 1st. And even if you get the card and dice add-on, it's only $33.50. So if you're curious about the game, it does come with the current season. So if you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan, why not? And retro seasons are 28. McGee at 347, 5 homers, and 36 RBI. And so all this on a rainy day in St. Louis, and Welch finally goes to work. McGee pops it up, left side, Anderson into foul territory, and that will go foul. A baseball game you can. I think you can in the football game as well. Not sure about basketball. 2-2 the count to McGee. And he struck him out, so Welch gets him to swing and miss on a 2-2 fastball. 1 out for Pendleton, 226, no homers, and 26 RBI. So again, many thanks to Dave Cook and those on the Action PC Facebook group for getting us all squared away with this one. And if you want to know the name of the file that was deleted, that was there, I will be unveiling the Action PC football game next week. It was baseball-recent, I think was the name of the file. It's in your DK Sports data file in the baseball, but don't delete anything. That's what corrupted, and that's why we weren't with you yesterday. Pitch to Pendleton, struck him out, so Welch is raring to go. A 2-2 curve for strike 3. To get back to the Garrett Cole thing, remember Garrett was the opening day starter for the Yankees against the Red Sox. Tommy Herr, by the way, 312, a homer, and 45 RBI. Now, because it was opening day and they introduced everyone's massage therapist down the baselines, when Billy Crystal threw out the first pitch, and they had the young lady who had emigrated from the Ukraine. Yeah, you got Dave Cook to thank for this. Absolutely. He's the one that saved the day. The young Ukrainian girl who sang the Ukrainian national anthem. The ceremony ran late, and the Red Sox got to Cole, just like they did in the wild card game. So Cole blamed the Yankees for having that ceremony, get this, that ran 4 minutes late. 4.5 hours, 4 minutes. Pitch to her. Tommy hits a ground ball to Duncan. Mariano went on the turf. That's not grass. Over to Brock, and that will retire the side. So, Cardinals go in order. So it's now 30 straight innings for me. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the second, 7-0 Dodgers. So here's Landro. Kenny had a double and an RBI in the first and scored. Force winds and deals. Ground ball to her. Tommy over to Clark. 1 out. So you can bounce back and forth between me and RJL's stream tonight. We'll have Kansas City and the Yankees. Did Putin get the blame for the Yankees unable to sign Aaron Judge? Aren't they like $100 million apart? The Yankees and Judge, not the two superpowers. Here's Guerrero, PD 0 for 1. Reached on an error. Yep. So Cole again pitched this week. And Toronto, I believe. No, it wasn't Toronto, was it? Somebody else lit him up and he couldn't get out of the second. So I doubt that 4 extra minutes that he had to warm or wait for the Yankees to start their season was all the difference in the world. Goodness gracious. Pitch to Guerrero into left center. Braun. And that's going to be gone. So it's 8-0 Dodgers. Contain yourself, Mr. Howard. A-Rod told Judge to hold out for another $40 million. So that's his 17th of the year for Guerrero. And it's just not St. Louis's day. 8-0 Dodgers. All Braun could do is turn and watch it go. Whereabouts is Judge from? Yeah, the drama remaining is whether I score a run or not. No pressure, Steeler fan. Not at all, Matt. Brock hit a 3-run homer his first time up. His 11th of the year and is now driven in 34. Force winds and deals. That's popped up. Her and Smith converge, and Tommy grabs the pop-up. 2 out. For R.J. Reynolds, who tripled and scored in the first. So 8-0 L.A. And if you're watching now, it's because We just want to have a nice conversation. Pitch from Forge. Reynolds into left. Braun rides the Schwinn and makes the catch to retire the side. A diving catch. So no runs, or 1 run, 1 hit. The home run from Guerrero makes it 8-0 LA. So the GOAT's ready. Here's Jack Clark. 275, 9 homers, and 43 RBI. I've already told a couple stories today, too. So, you know, maybe you can convince the Pickle Rick girl to come over here. Or you could subscribe to my channel, and I won't be getting in a hot tub just wearing a Speedo for you. How's that? Pitch to Clark. Jack swings, and there's a base hit right center. Jack has extra bases. He's going for 3. The throw from Duncan to Anderson, and he is in there with the second triple of the year. And with nobody out and a runner on third, I feel some vindication coming on. And it has nothing to do with anything with Scully. Here's Andy Van Slyke, thumper at 264. 4 homers and 27 RBI. Yeah, a runner on third, nobody out. If this was the Red Sox, I would not worry about it. But, yep, I'm going to get that run in. Me and Charlie Brown. Pitch from Welch. Ground ball to Brock. Clark is going to have to... Here comes Clark. They're going to let the run score. And thankfully... 30 was the magic number. So the Cardinals are on the board, 8-1, and my streak of futility. And now everyone's going to leave because my streak of futility is over. Steve Braun with 1 out, 148, no homers, and 3 RBI. Now that gets through the auto filter just fine, Todd. They're swearing at me, gang. Little number to second, sacks on the turf, throws to Brock, 2 out. Oh, we get to ban somebody, too. So Matt's gone to watch some pickles. Here's Ozzy Smith, 262, 3 homers and 41 RBI. Wow, I get to ban somebody. 8-1 Dodgers, 2 out in the second. Ozzy rips this one up the middle. Duncan stops it, throws to first, and the side is retired. But the scoring streak drought is over after 30 innings. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors. After 2, 8-1 Dodgers. So Socha, Saxon, Welch to face Forge here in the third. Socha singled and scored his first time up and also drove in his 23rd run. Base hit right field. Van Slyke will pick it up. And that's the 9th hit for the Dodgers with nobody out in the third. Steve Sachs 1 for 1. He singled and scored. Steele, again, person who should be rooting for the Cardinals is rooting for me to lose. Yeah, Forsch looks excited to be mopping up, doesn't he? To kind of paraphrase in the now Red Sox fan way, that Forsch picture looks like I'm just too old for this poop. Socha on first, Sack swings, ground ball, base hit, left side. And so I think we're finally, this is the type of stuff you get position players into pitch for after a while. So 2 on, nobody out for Welch. Who had a sacrifice bunt his first time up. Welch looking to do it again. Pitch from Forge. Welch bunts. Nieto picks it up. Goes to second for 1. Over to Clark. Do they turn 2? Yes, they do. The bunt fails. So 2-6-3 on the DP. And so the moral victory for the Cardinals Here's Dave Anderson. So Force, 21 pitches now, 2 innings, 3 hits, the home run to Guerrero, I think it was. Anderson is 2 for 2. He has singled twice. He's now driven in 14 and scored once. Socha on third. 4 steals. Got him for strike 3. Nieto hung on to it, and that will end the inning. So the Dodgers leave on a runner. No runs, 2 hits, and no errors. After 2.5, it's 8-1 LA. So Nieto, Force will have to bat, and McGee to face Welch here in the third. Nieto at 215. Is that his weight or his batting average? 2 triples and 12 RBI. Pitch to Tom. There's a ground ball base hit. So, Steeler fan, I'm starting a new streak. We're going to score in 2 straight innings, right? Force isn't going to bunt. He's a terrible bunter. He is a good hitter, however. 435, 2 homers, and 8 RBI. Brock and Anderson play for the bunt. We're swinging away. And Force rips that one down the line and right. That's extra bases. Nieto huffs and puffs over second. He's going to round third and score without a throw. Force has himself a double. No, Force is going for 3. The throw from Sachs to Anderson is not in time. And so for Bob Force, that's his second triple of the year, and it's now 8-2. Steeler fan has passed out because I've now scored in 2 straight innings. So nobody out. Willie McGee, the batter. Willie struck out to start the game for St. Louis. Welch is opening 9 on 30 pitches, 3 hits, 2 innings, 2 earned runs, and 2 strikeouts. Steeler fan doing his best Lorenzo and Big Clue impression. I painted numbers on all these signs to hang on the railing to track the streak, and now I just look stupid. Oh, finish the sentence with them under my seat. And the comeback is on. You can't hold a team that's 53-23 down long. Pitch to Willie. There's a ground ball to short. Force trots home. Duncan goes for the sure out at first, and it's 8-3 LA. So McGee with the fielder's choice, 6-3. And St. Louis has cut the margin to 5. Here's Pendleton. Terry struck out his first time up. Todd B with a spirit. Comeback for sure. Is he saying come back to me, or did the Pickle Rick lady go out for lunch? No, come back. I want to watch that. Pitch to Terry. Ground ball to Sachs. Steve throws to first. Terry can run, but he cannot hide, and that's 2. So Tommy Herr, the Mets would have mailed this one already. If there's ever a behind the music series for Retro Sports Network, the 85 Mets would be in the first season. Here's Herr. He's 0 for 1. Pitch from Welch. And Tommy draws the walk. You don't want to be putting runners on. They can run. So 2 out for Clark. Jack tripled and scored in the second. 2 in for St. Louis. There goes Herr. The throw down to Sachs is going to be not in time. That's 17 for Tommy. And so a 1-strike count, and the Cardinals have a runner in scoring position. For Clark, who has tripled and scored. Oh, I like that, Todd. Behind the banner. I like that. I like that a lot. That's great. Pitch to Jack. Jack swings, and there's a little looper past Sachs for a base hit. So Herr will round third. Landro does not have a great arm, and Herr has speed to burn. And the throw goes in the infield, and yep, it's now 8-4. Steeler fan kind of betwixt in between of what he wants to do. He's got all those signs for my scoring streak, but he needs the Cardinals to win, and the Cardinals have now cut the Dodger lead in half. Here's Van Slyke. Andy has an RBI. He's 0 for 1. Pitch to Thumper. Little ground ball to Sachs, and that should do it. Over to first, and the side is retired. But the Cardinals get 3 runs on 3 hits and no errors. We go to the 4th. It's 8-4 L.A. So Bob Forsch comes out for his 3rd inning here. Duncan 0 for 1. You never know what's going to happen on these streams. Forsch winds and deals. Ground ball to third. Pendleton's got it. Over to first. For the out. Todd B waves a terrible towel in front of Steelers fan. Knows to wake him up. I like that. Schneeve 67 followed last Friday, and I didn't get that in when we were with you Sunday for the hockey game. So he's our latest follower. Now he is number 222 on the channel. Here's Landreau. Kenny's 1 for 2. He's got a double and his 44th RBI. Force winds and deals. Landreau into right. Van Slyke going back. And Andy will make the catch on the track. And now Steeler fan. Now I'm using the signs to track the scoring streak. Instead of the scoreless streak. Okay. Sure, Jan. Here's Pedro Guerrero 1 for 2 and the 17th in the 2nd. And now driven in 46. 2 out. In the center field, McGee should get this. And he will, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Got ourselves a ball game again. Dodgers 8, Cardinals 4. Well, we're going to try this in-game, and hopefully it won't freeze. So here are the standings. The Dodgers are 5.5 up on Houston, who's lost 3 straight. Cincinnati making a run here. They're now at 500. In the East, the Cardinals 11.5 on Montreal. And everyone else is just kind of pushing gravy around. In the American League West, California has cut Kansas City's lead to a 1.5. Oakland has won 4 straight. They're within 4.5. Minnesota setting up for the All-Star game. The Jays have lost 3 straight. And all the Yankees have capitalized. Red Sox, Orioles, Yankees, and Tigers all within 5.5. Well, let's see if we actually can get some play in here. So Braun is 0 for 1. And the pitch, hey, it worked. In the left center field, Landreau. 1 out. So I didn't even have to open up a notebook file today. Woohoo! So here's Ozzy Smith. Ozzy is 0 for 1. Things are coming up roses. Or snow. One of the two. Pitch to Ozzy. There's a ground ball to Sachs. Throws to first. 2 out. Yeah, I think the NL East is done. We'll get the Cardinals in a few more times, obviously. But like last year with the Yankees, it just... You go and focus on things that are, you know, more fun to watch. Here's Nieto. Tom singled and scored. He's 1 for 1. Pitch to Tom. Fly ball, center field. Landreau moves over in the right, and that will retire the side. So the scoring streak stops at 2. We go to the 5th. It's 8-4 L.A. So Brock, Reynolds, and Scioscia to face Forsch here in the 5th. And Bob is hanging in there pretty well. And as was said earlier, you know, he doesn't like doing the mop-up stuff. That is not a happy look on Bob's face. Pitch to Greg is a fly ball to right. Van Slyke, 1 out. I think by this point, if you got your picture on a Topps baseball card, you didn't get paid very much for it. I know initially it was $50. I want to say in this era 75, 100. I think today it's 350. And so you got to stop what you're doing and pose for the picture. And for $75, that's not a lot of money. It wasn't even then. R.J. Reynolds is 1 for 2. He has tripled and scored. Of course, Billy Martin spent his $50 in 1972 and showed off his birdie finger. Reynolds into left. Braun will move over and make the catch. 2 out. Starting lineup figures are making a comeback. Wow. Is Kenner still making them? Or I'm sure the brand name Kenner was bought by somebody else. Here's Mike Scioscia. Mike has singled twice, driven in a run, and scored. Do you know the reason why, and there's a story, we'll get to it after the commercial, why the 1952 top set is so valuable? Pitch to Scioscia. There's a punch into right field, and Van Slyke will let it drop. Some of it has to do with Mickey Mantle, but there's one other specific reason. Here's Sack. Steve has singled twice and scored once. So runner on first, 11th hit for the Dodgers with 2 out here in the 5th. Struck him out, so Forsch got him, and that will retire the side. No runs, a hit, no errors. We go to the bottom of the 5th. We're halfway home finally on a Thursday afternoon. The Dodgers 8, the Cardinals 4. All right, if you joined us late, here's how we got here. Well, it snowed on Tuesday, and the game crashed Wednesday. And so by the time we finally got to play this, the Dodgers were just chomping at the bit to start the ballgame. They scored 7 on 7 hits and an error in the first. Kenny Landreau with a double to score Dave Anderson to make it 1-0 LA. Greg Brock a 3-run shot to make it 4-0. He now has 11 homers on the replay. Mike Scioscia singled home Reynolds to make it 5-0. And before Kirk Kepshire could get his arm warm, Dave Anderson singled home 2 to make it 7-0. In the second, Guerrero slammed a home run to make it 8-0, his 17th of the year. And then the Cardinals have started to chip away. Van Slyke a fielder's choice to make it 8-1. In the third, St. Louis put 3 across, a Bob Forsch triple. The score, Tom Nieto made it 8-2. Willie McGee with a fielder's choice to make it 8-3. And Jack Clark with an RBI single to make it 8-4. Kirk Kepshire with a performance he'd like to forget. 2/3 of an inning, 7 hits, 7 runs, 4 earned. The home run, he didn't walk or strike out anybody, and 35 pitches was enough. And Forsch coming in for long relief, 4 1/3, 4 hits, just the 1 run, the solo shot to Guerrero, and has struck out 2. And so Welch, 4 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs all earned. He has walked 1 and struck out 2. So I'm being told that Hasbro, I figured it wouldn't be Kenner anymore, and Fanatics are teaming up, available only online beginning in September. That should be fun. I mean, you got some great young players. Vladdy Guerrero Jr., Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, not so young anymore. Bob Forsch is going to bat here. He tripled his first time up. He now has 2 on the year. Welch starts the 5th, and Forsch plops this one into right. Reynolds coming in, 1 out. So that brings up McGee. Welch is opening 18, 68 pitches, 4 1/3, 4 hits, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. McGee is 0 for 2, has a sac fly, or an RBI, and a strikeout. McGee's going to drop one down, and that's a beauty. Brock is going to get it, and that will not be in time, and McGee has himself a bunt single. So a great speed. Here's Pendleton. Terry is 0 for 2 with the strikeout. Now, the baseball card, the top 52 baseball card story. Anyone want to take a stab at that before I tell it? Throw to first. McGee is back. McGee goes. The throw down from Socha to Duncan, and McGee is safe. That's 30. So McGee steals it. Now has 30. So 1 strike count to Pendleton and 1 out. Remember, in the second inning, the Dodgers led 8-0. Pitch to Pendleton. Oops, the throw back. A pickoff throw. Oh. They were issued in series, that's right, and they did that through 74. Through a few years ago, and now it's pretty much a 3-series set. And part of it has to do with the fact that they were issued in series. Pitch to Pendleton. And it's a balk. Welch is called with a balk, and McGee goes to third. So 1 out and a 1 strike count, and the Cardinals have a runner on third. Pitch to Terry. Ball 4. So for Welch, it's starting to come undone. So runners on the corners for her, 1 out. Tommy has walked, stole his 17th base, and scored once. So first and third, and her has a golden opportunity to make this a 3-run game. Socha goes out to Welch and says, let's throw some strikes, okay? Welch deals into center field. That'll get home McGee for sure. Landro retreating back there. Kenny makes the catch. McGee will tag at third and score without a throw. And now it's 8-5. This is a ball game again, folks. Here's Clark. Jack is 2 for 2. He is singled, tripled, driven in his 44th run, and scored. So the game now is afoot. Throw to first, Pendleton back. Topps was disappointed by the sales of that 52 set. And so they had warehouses of cards they could not sell. And I don't know what Mickey Mantle's card number and what series he would have been in 52. Remember, his true rookie card is a 51 Bowman. And so, to make room for other product, they obviously were going to make cards in 53, but obviously the print run wasn't going to be so much. They packed up the trucks. Topps was in Brooklyn at the time. They drove to the East River, backed the trucks up, and dumped them in the East River. Pitch to Clark. Fly ball to left. Guerrero won't even have to move that much for the out. That will retire the side. 1 run, however, for St. Louis on a hit and no errors. After 5, 8-5 L.A. So Welch, Anderson, and Duncan. Yes, so that's how Richmond spikes his sales. They go to the canal in Glenhead and dump those excess cards into the drink. No, that's not how they do it. Welch is 0 for 1. He's grounded into a double play. Force will start the 6th with a foul ball. So the count is 2-2. Force winds and deals. Struck him out. That's 3 for Bob. A 2-2 fastball right down Broadway. Brings up Anderson. Dave is 2 for 3. 2 RBI, a run scored, and a strikeout. There, of course, is an infamous picture of a Woolworths sometime in the summer of 52. And you see in the toy department a massive display of 52 Topps baseball card packs. I mean, 2 or 3 cases of the stuff sitting on the table at either a penny for a single with a gum, or the 5 for D. Scott Howard, if he's still here, probably remembers buying the 5 for 5 cents with a chunk of gum. Can you imagine? I mean, today that might be $1 million worth of cards. Pitch to Anderson. There's a fly ball, right center. McGee will come in for the out. Yeah, if there is a case existing today, millions. Absolutely. I know that every once in a while, as Mariano Duncan steps in, he's 0 for 2, that there is a rare case of 86, 87 Fleer basketball with a Jordan card, maybe the most counterfeited card in sports card history, that comes up for auction, and they get 6 figures for those, because those sets were only 128 cards plus the puzzle pieces. And so you know that not only is it a Jordan in a PSA 10, but other stars, Isaiah and Larry and Magic and all that, Patrick Ewing, you know, big bucks. Yeah, I'm not even sure if I've seen an unopened box of 52 Topps. I've seen the boxes, but I'm not sure if there would be enough packs to fill it. Pitch to Duncan. Mariano slaps out one into left for a single. Braun will pick it up. Duncan will hold it first. And that brings up Landreau. Ketty's got a double, 1 for 3. A run scored and an RBI. I've seen packs. There are a few of those around, and I'm sure they get you a pretty penny. Someone at National, and if you're not familiar with National, that is the biggest baseball card, sports card show in the country, bought a pack of 53 Bowman and opened it. Now, I think it's only 6 cards in the pack. One of them that's going to be on the seal in the back is going to be a ruined card because the wax has been there forever. And the card in the front is going to be the gum card. And if you've ever opened up, let's say, a pack of Topps from the 70s or 80s recently, you know that not only does the gum stain, but it sticks. So you're paying a premium for a 5 or 6 card pack, and you know that both the cards along the wrapper aren't going to be worth anything because of the wrapper stains and the gum stains. Wow, I'll read that in a minute. Pitch to Landreau, 1 for 3. There goes Duncan, the throw down to Ozzy, and Mariano has it stolen. So 18 for him, and a 1 strike count to Landreau. In 1965, after the season, your local drugstore, Mr. Howard, sold me all their unsold cases of cards for, how many were there? For $1, and do you still have them? Wow is right, Todd. And so I would think if you were to buy something from that era, that in a 5-card pack, you'd want to leave it sealed. I would think the value would be to keep it closed. And he didn't pull, the video's up on YouTube, he didn't pull anybody of note. You know, there were maybe decent stars for the era, but there wasn't, you know, a Mantle or a Berra or someone that you would know today if you were a casual fan. Pitch to Landreau. There's a fly ball to right. Van Slyke coming in to make the catch. and that will retire the side. Dodgers don't get a run. They do get a hit, leave them on. We go to the bottom of the 6th, 8-5. We're taking... You got me telling stories here. It's 1 o'clock. So here's Van Slyke. Andy is 0 for 2 with an RBI. Welch starts the 6th with a little number down to Brock. He's going to underhand it to Welch, 1 out. And that'll bring up Braun. Steve is 0 for 2. Struck him out. That's 3 for Welch. And 0-2 right at the belt on the changeup. So 2 out for the Wizard. Ozzy is 0 for 2. We are with you tonight, 8 Eastern. I don't know what time my kid's coming to feed me dinner, so I can't promise you a time earlier than that. I believe it's Kansas City and the Yankees. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely, Todd. I can see how that happened, too. Football cards arriving in the fall and baseball getting shoved aside. And you got to get rid of it. Just get something for it. How many boxes did you get, Mr. Howard? Pitch to Ozzy. There's a line drive to center. That's going to drop in front of Landreau for a hit. Yeah, 3 cases. My God. Long gone. No one thought to save him back then. And, of course, the rookies were usually tucked in the later series. That's why that they were worth them. And you're right. No one thought to save him back then. A whole different ball game today. Here's Nieto. So 2 out, Ozzy on first. Tom has a single. He's 1 for 2 and a run scored. Welch throws to first. Ozzy back. We're going to hit and run. Nieto can't get the jump. Does Smith? That is a tremendous story. So 2-2 the count. 2 out here in the 6th. 8-5 L.A. Crowd boos as Welch goes back to first. All right, you want to do that? We're gone. Ooh, 50-50 chance. And strike 3, it will not matter. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors. We go to the 7th, it's still 8-5 L.A. So Guerrero, Brock, and Reynolds to face Forsh in what will be his last inning. 5 1/3 of relief of Kirk Kepshire, who was done after giving up 7 runs in the first. Helps if the mouse is in the right spot. Pitch to Guerrero. There's a ground ball to third. Pendleton over to Clark for the out. So 1 out for Brock. Greg 1 for 3. Hit a monster 3-run homer in the first. His 11th. He's now driven in 34. Struck him out. So Forsh going out on a high note. A 1-2 for strike 3. A lot of Yankee cards went on the dartboard. Well, yeah, when you had that many. R.J. Reynolds is 1 for 3 with a triple. And, of course, how many? You were of that age, because you said you were 13. How many cards did you put in your bike spokes? Pitch to Reynolds. There's a fly ball left center. You can answer that after the stretch. McGee makes the catch. Stretch time 8-5. If you're a member of our Digital Dice Patreon, Dave and I have decided what we're going to play for our Discord audience. And we're looking forward to that. We're going to hopefully do that sometime this weekend. Tito Landrum is going to pinch hit for Bob Force. Tito, as a pinch hitter, 286 overall, 326, 3 homers, and 12 RBI. Landrum swings, and there's a liner in the left. That's a base hit. Guerrero can't get it, Anderson should have had it, and Landrum is in with a double. So the Cardinals are cooking here to start the 7th. Todd, who loves George Hendrick about as much as I do Bob Stanley, puts his George Hendrick cards down as puppy pads. If Hendrick was still around in 87, it probably would be a fair value, because they're still printing those. Willie McGee is 1 for 3. He has singled, scored, driven in a run, stolen a base, and struck out. Welch is opening 27, 101 pitches, 6 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs. He has walked 2 and struck out 4. And the pitch to Willie is into right center for a base hit. Reynolds cuts it off in the alley. Landrum will round third. They're going to send him. What's McGee going to do? McGee will hold the throw to Scioscia. No, sir. And so it's 8-6 Los Angeles. This would be a comeback's comeback if the Cardinals could pull this off. Yeah, I bet, D. Scott, you supplied all your buddies' bikes, too. This would be an epic comeback. Look at McGee. He can steal. There goes Willie to throw down to third, and Willie is safe. A close call. Get the mouse up. You don't want to steal home. And so the run is now on third, nobody out. And those of you who stuck around to listen to me tell stories, you're now getting a ball game. Here's Pendleton. Terry is 0 for 2. He's got a 1-strike count. He's walked once and struck out once. Pitch from Welch. Fly ball, left field. Guerrero. No, sir. That is out of play, and that's a 2-strike count. Her and Clark coming up. Nobody out here in the 7th. And the Cardinals already have a run in. Pitch to Terry. Struck him out. Welch got him to look at a fastball on an 0-2 pitch. And so with 1 out and a runner on third, here's Tommy Hurd. Tommy has an RBI, a run scored, a stolen base, and a walk. Pitch from Welch. Walked him. And so now the computer, Mr. Lasorda, has got to be thinking. Her is now the tying run. And Clark, with his 22 homers on the real season, is now the go-ahead run. And you look at his chances, and it's not out of the realm of possibility here. So Welch, on a hot day in St. Louis, it's 89 degrees, it's rained all the way through, and there is no wind. Welch throws to first. Her is back. Tommy can steal a base. Not going to do it right now, especially not with a runner on third. 1 out. Pitch to Clark. Struck him out. He got him with a fastball on an 0-2 at the knees. And so now it's up to Andy Van Slyke. And they're going to pinch hit for Van Slyke here. They're going to go with Coleman. And immediately, that doesn't look like a great move. Vince at 271. He does not have a pinch hit. A homer, 22 RBI. Let's see if the Dodgers can get out of this one. It's 8-6. 2 out in the 7th. Pitch from Welch. Coleman chops it to short. Duncan goes to first, and Coleman didn't run fast enough. And so the Dodgers give up 1. The Cardinals leave on 2, and that's the inning. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors. We go to the 8th, 8-6 LA. So Coleman stays in the game and right. Time for the rain out. And now the Cardinals can just go with their pen. Ricky Horton will come in the game for... I got to do it for Landrum. Horton, 2-0 on the replay with a save and a 3.13 ERA. 23rd appearance. 26 years old, a fastball pitcher at 90 and a ground ball pitcher. Last pitched a week ago against the Mets in a 5-4 loss. 2 innings, he didn't get the decision. 26 pitches, a solo home run, no walks or strikeouts. So overall, Horton, who here's a who every once in a while, 37 and a third innings, 36 hits, 20 runs, 13 earned to 4 homers. He's walked 10 and struck out 28. One appearance against the Dodgers on May 9th. And he threw an 8-pitch clean inning. So Scioscia is 3 for 3. Mike has singled 3 times, driven in a run, and scored. We start the 8th with a little looper to right, and Scioscia is going to be 4 for 4. As you see from there. Brings up sacks. Steve is 2 for 3. He has singled twice. Has scored once and struck out once. Horton's pitch. He walked him. So that's not what... So Bob Forrest, who pretty much saved this game for St. Louis, watching all his handiwork come undone in the first 2 batters. See what they do with Welch, who's 0 for 2. He is grounded into a double play and struck out. I'd imagine the Dodgers would pinch hit here, and they will. It's Candy Maldonado. Candy, as a pinch hitter, does not have a hit. Overall, 203, 4 homers, and 10 RBI. Horton deals. Ground ball to third. Might be 2. Pendleton with a great stop. Can't get sacks at second. Over to Clark, and they get Maldonado. So they can't get the middle runner, but they get Maldonado 1 out. Cardinals playing in for Anderson, who has singled twice. He's 2 for 4 with 2 RBI, a run scored, and a strikeout. Horton's deals, and he walks Anderson. So Ricky is rusty. And now, however, you can play back because the double play is back on for Duncan, who's 1 for 3. So the Dodgers, with that lead cut to 2, are looking for some insurance and maybe suggest Edward Jones investments. Pitch to Mariano, 1 for 3. That should score Scioscia. In fact, that might score more than Scioscia. Brian is going to play that one off the wall. Sachs will score. Anderson will hold at third. It's a ground rule double. And so now the Dodgers don't want the rain to come. So 1 out, and now it's 10-6. And here's Landro, Ricky Horton, pitching like Mickey Horton from Days of Our Lives. Landro has an RBI and a double. He's 1 for 4. He's now more than that. That's a base hit. Anderson will score. Duncan will round third and hold. And it's now open season on St. Louis. It's 11-6. Ricky Horton is like the dog that ate the grass. He's just blowing chunks. Here's Guerrero, PD, 1 for 4. His 17th home run of the year, and is driven in 46 now. Runners on first and third, 1 out. This should be 2. Smith to her for 1. Over to Clark, and that will retire the side. But the Dodgers chase away a couple live listeners and score 3. With a 5-run lead. Yeah, that's right. It's Dodgers get 3 more. If we go to the bottom of the 8th, 11-6. Yep, a Days of Our Life reference. This game is slowly slipping through the hourglass. So are the win for the Cardinals. Castillo making his 17th appearance of the year. Robert, 30 years old, a fly ball extreme pitcher. The fastball tops out at 94. He last went against the Braves on the 29th. He went an inning, and it was clean, 14 pitches. 35 2/3 innings for Robert. 22 hits, 13 runs, 12 earned, 5 homers, 19 walks, and 28 strikeouts. And so, who can hit a righty? It'll be Brian Harper as a pinch hitter. 455 with 2 RBI. Overall, 391 with 3 RBI. Yep, Kenny Landros had a good couple games, for sure. And Matt Steeler fans, Astros 18 replay. Washington and Atlanta played a game 163 for the division. That was the year, because I covered that team. Yeah, that was a rough one. Atlanta led 4-3 with 2 out in the ninth before Washington scored 7 on their last out. Oh my gosh. You're using PC replay? Oh my goodness. You're down to the last out and you put up a 7 spot? Wow. Anyway, Cardinals are Stratomatic PC. Wow. So, here's Harper. Ball 4. Cardinals have 6 outs to get 5 runs. Here's Ozzy. Ozzy 1 for 3 with a single. Up the middle. Sack stops it. Duncan for 1. Mariano throws to first. 2 out. So a 4-6-3 double play. And that'll bring up Nieto. Tom is 1 for 3 with a strikeout, a single, and a run scored. Cardinals will go to their pen unless Nieto is retired. And he'll be retired as he flies this one to right. Reynolds wraps it up. So Horton stays out there. We go to the 9th, 11-6 LA. So Brian Harper, not much to write about in left field. He's a 2 range out of 10 and a 1 arm out of 10. So that's a ramen noodle special right there. Horton to face Brock Reynolds and Socha in the 9th. Greg 1 for 4. He had that 3-run homer in the first. And that will get past her, and the Dodgers are just teeing off on Horton again. That's Ricky's 4th hit allowed. Here's Reynolds. RJ 1 for 4. He's got a triple and a run scored. Horton deals. Popped up. Right side. Her. 1 out. So for the Cardinals in the 9th, a pinch hitter, McGee and Pendleton, and if anybody should reach her. Socha is happy with himself an afternoon. 4 for 4. 4 singles, 2 runs, and an RBI. And he walked. I'm seriously going to bring in a pitcher. I'm going to pinch it anyway, so why not? Horton says, I want sacks. Hey, thanks, Ty. We'll be on tonight, 8 Eastern for Kansas City and the Yankees, I think. Steve is 2 for 3. He has singled twice, scored twice, walked and struck out. Runners on first and second. Gets away from Nieto. Tom fires to third. Can they get the out? No. So Nieto gets charged with a pass ball. And the Dodgers are sitting pretty. And they just put the 4 wide ones up for sacks, and they'll bring up Castillo with 1 out and the bases loaded. Bill Russell's going to pinch hit for Bobby Castillo. Big Russ at 217, no homers and 5 RBI, does not have a pinch hit. And they'll bring in the pitching change now. They'll bring in Jeff Lottie. 2-2 with 11 saves and an ERA of 2.78. Last pitched against the Dodgers on the 4th, so we had him his last game. 1 inning, 2 hits and 2 strikeouts, and the 3-0 loss. So 22 2/3, 25 hits, 9 runs, 7 earned. 2 homers, 8 walks, and 22 strikeouts. Of course, the first time we're on all week, we're running way over. Bases loaded, 1 out. And the Cardinals would love to right now. Pitch to Russell. They're not going to get it. Ground ball, base hit, left side. Brock will score. Sosha will do what? What's he going to do? Round third. Harper just spins it in the infield, and it's now 13-6. So brings up Dave Anderson, 2 for 4. Dave is singled twice, driven in 2, scored twice, walked once, and struck out once. 13 runs, 17 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. They've left 5 on so far. The Cardinals, 6 runs, 8 hits, an error, and they've left on 5 as well. First and second for Anderson, who hits a ground ball to third. Pendleton goes to her for 1, and they will not throw to first. So Russell is retired on the fielder's choice. And that brings up Duncan. Mariano has had himself a day. 2 for 4, a single, a double, and 2 RBI, and a stolen base. So runners on first and third, 2 out. Duncan lines this one to right. That's going to score Sachs. Anderson around second. He's going to go around third. Duncan is trying for 3. Anderson will score, and Duncan's in with a triple. And it's now 15-6. So remember, the Dodgers at one point led 8-0. And the Cardinals had their chances when it was 8-6. And the Dodgers have slammed, and I mean slammed, the door. So Landro, who, as D. Scott Howard said, has had himself a day. 2 for 5, a double, 2 RBI, and a run scored. The other day, Western Washington Union softball had an intentional walk, and the pitcher forgot what she was doing and fired right down Broadway and drilled the umpire. Ow! And let me tell you, there's nothing soft about a softball. Runners moved up 90. Pitch to Landro. Duncan dances down the line. Ground ball foul. So a 2-2 count with 2 out. Pitch to Landro. Tommy Herr will grab this one. He'll go to for the sure out, and that will retire the side. Kenny Howell, you think he can mop this one up with a 9-run lead? Maybe. Brad, it was 8-0 Dodgers. Kirk Kepshire couldn't get out of the first, and the Cardinals chipped at it till it was 8-6, and they had a chance to go ahead. And Bob Welch got him out of it. And how do the Dodgers think? Bob Welch, 3 in the 8th and 4 in the 9th. So let's tell you about Kenny Howell. He's lost his last, was only 3 decisions. 0-3 with 4 saves and an ERA of 3.31. I wonder if the 88 Dodgers ever had a 15-run game. Wasn't against the Mets, that's for sure. Kenny's 25, a fastball pitcher at 95, and a standard pitcher. Pitched yesterday in the 6-3 loss to St. Louis. In fact, he took the loss. 2/3 of an inning, 23 pitches, 3 runs on 3 hits and a homer, and a strikeout. So 35 and a third innings. 29 hits, 17 runs, 13 earned, 3 homers, 12 walks, and 32 strikeouts. And for Brad's benefit, we're with you tonight at 8 o'clock because this week has been a cluster inside of a Google. Yeah, 15 runs were a week's worth in the 60s. And so we are well behind. And so I believe it's Kansas City and the Yankees tonight at 8 Eastern. Pinch hit for the pitcher run. Okay. Ivan De Jesus will pinch run. Or pinch hit. De Jesus has an RBI, but not a hit as a pinch hitter. Overall, 143 with 3 RBI. Pitch to De Jesus is a fly ball to right. Reynolds will come in. 1 out. And now bring up McGee. Willie has a bunt hit. He's 2 for 4. Other hit was a single. He's driven in 2, a run scored, and 2 stolen bases, including 1 a third, and a strikeout. Howell winds and deals, and that's a base hit. The rain has stayed consistent all through the game, and it's a toasty 89 degrees. In fact, it's a sauna, because remember, this grass field, it shouldn't be there. It's all on plastic. And just like Barbie Girl, it's fantastic. Now, did you ever think that I would drop a Days of Our Lives and an Aqua reference in the same game? Here's Pendleton. Terry is 0 for 3. He has walked once and struck out twice. See, that's the thing that's missing with Bob Costas as an older man. In his NBC days in the 80s, he'd do this sort of thing. Now, no. McGee isn't going anywhere. Ground ball to third. Anderson goes across the way to Brock for the out. So McGee on second with 2 out. Last chance saloon for the Cardinals. Tommy Herr has walked twice, has an RBI, a run scored, and a stolen base. The Cardinals need 9 to tie and 10 to win, and they have 1 out to do it in. Howell from the stretch. Base hit. We're not done. Guerrero picks it up. McGee with speed to burn will round third. I can't imagine Guerrero's going to throw home here. Herr will hold. He does throw home, and it is not in time. So the Cardinals choke out another run, and it's 15-7. And so, Brad, you'll be happy to know that my scoreless streak as a manager did reach 30, but the Cardinals bailed me out in the second. So here's Clark. He is 2 for 4. He has single, triple, driven in a run, scored, and struck out. Howell trying to close the door with an 8-run lead. Does so. Struck him out. And the Dodgers have won this one by the odd score of 15-7. 15 runs, 18 hits, no errors. Isn't it always the players bailing out the manager? I missed you too, Bradley. St. Louis, 7 runs, 10 hits, and an error. Bob Welch gets the gets the win. He goes to 3-1, 7 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs all earned. He walked 3 and struck out 6. Kirk Kepshire with a game that he will remember as long as it takes to nail back a 6 of August Bush's finest brews. 2/3 of an inning, 7 hits, 7 runs, 4 earned. Player of the game is going to be Mariano Duncan. He drove in 4. How about that? 3 for 5. Bob Forsch gets an honorable mention because he went 6 1/3 in relief and only allowed the 1 run. He got sandwiched in between Kirk Kepshire's poo-poo and Ricky Horton's blowout. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here was Bob Forsch stuck in the middle with you. So the rest of the day in baseball, as the lead down for St. Louis is 11, and Los Angeles' lead is now 6. It does figure, Steeler fan, that I break the scoreless streak in a big way only to allow 15. Well, I had to give up 8 runs just to get on the board. Yep, Bob Welch, a 1990 Cy Young winner, ranks up there. And you got to think that he's going to be the last pitcher ever to win 27 games. All right, rest of this Saturday in baseball. Yep, it took 48 hours for us to get there. What we got here? Rest of the day in baseball for you. From Wrigley, the Giants beat the Cubs 3-2. Mike Krukow goes to 8-7. George Frazier falls to 1-6. Dan Gladden 2-4, triple, and 2 stolen bases. Kansas City beats Baltimore 4-2. Future Red Danny Jackson goes 7-7. Scott McGregor 6-7. Hal McRae 4 hits, 2 home runs. He's now hit 10 and drove in 2. Oh, lots of stuff to go through today. The A's beat the Blue Jays 7-3. Don Sutton goes to 7-7. Doyle Alexander falls to 10-6, and Carney Lansford 3-4 with 2 RBI. Red Sox beat the Angels 6-1. Mike Trujillo, of all people, goes to 4-1. Jim Slayton falls to 5-9. Bill Buckner, his 15th of the year, 3-4 with a double. Larry McWilliams, 7 innings, a 3-hit ball. Can't get the win, however. Pirates beat the Padres 4-3 and 13. Win 3-0. Mark Thurman falls to 4-5. George Hendrick, he's gone now. Hendrick 3-6 with 2 doubles. If Todd B wasn't so lazy, he would have stayed to watch that. Reds beat the Phillies 6-2. The Phillies commit 5 errors. Ron Robinson 3-3. John Denny just waiting for the year to end. 1-14 before the All-Star break. Vaughn Hayes 5-5. White Sox pound out 18 hits. They beat the Indians 10-7. James goes to 6-3. Thompson falls to 0-4. Harold Baines, the Hall of Famer, his 13th of the year, 4-6 and 2 RBI. Nolan Ryan 2 hits the Expos 2-0. He goes to 9-5. Hesketh 7-7, and Ryan struck out 6. Tigers beat the Rangers 5-2, but no fault of Glenn Cook. 7 innings, 3-hit ball. They struck out 5, and 2 of those runs were earned. O'Neill 2-4. Cook goes 0-1, and Hernandez struck out his 19th. Last but not least, Cleveland, by the way, committed 4 errors in that loss to Chicago. Last but not least, the Mariners beat the Brewers 6-1. Wills 3-2. Vukovic falls to 2-8, and Owen 3-4 with a stolen base. Hendrick is in contention for our top ex-players of all time project over at Baseball Fever. We're closing in on number 1,200. I would say between 9 and 1,100 would be my bid, Bob. And yet the 85 Astros won it in Inside Pitch and Robert, RJL Networks replay. So when we're with you tonight, we move up a few days, and it is indeed Kansas City and New York. And so that's the game for you at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, the Royals and the Yankees from the big old ballpark in the Bronx. I'm Ron Juckett. We'll talk to you then. So long, everybody.